Before I start this video, I just want to say that I'm not here to promote or bash religion. My religious beliefs will not play any key role during this video. But with that said, the topic of this video is going to be relevant to religion, because we're going to be talking about the 7 deadly sins in relation to Dragon Ball Z. The 7 deadly sins include pride, envy, gluttony, lust, anger, greed, and laziness. So let's see if any Dragon Ball Z characters would fit into a specific deadly sin. Most of, if not all, Dragon Ball Z characters will be considered, so without wasting time, let's move on to the first sin, which is laziness. Being lazy is simply defined as not wanting to work. And in a series like Dragon Ball Z, where you have to work to achieve strength, not many characters would be considered lazy. However, the guy that comes to mind the most is Yajirobe. Every single time in Dragon Ball Z, guys like Goku and Krillin ask him to train to help protect the Earth and grow stronger, because if you don't know, Yajirobe is naturally a very strong fighter. He is just very lazy. Other than Yajirobe, I'm thinking maybe guys like Yamcha, because at the start he was training fierce. He was a fierce fighter at the start of Dragon Ball, but in the end he just got extremely lazy. Oolong is another example of a character that is lazy and not willing to work, but in the end I do think Yajirobe is by far the most lazy in all of Dragon Ball Z. Therefore, the deadly sin of laziness goes to Yajirobe. Moving on to the next deadly sin, we have greed. There are a lot of characters in Dragon Ball Z that are greedy. We all know the definition of greed, but to make greed a deadly sin, it needs to be a material gain. For example, something like money, or in this case, the Dragon Balls. Who in Dragon Ball Z wanted the Dragon Balls for a material gain? I can think of plenty. Guys like Emperor Pilaf, Frieza, or even Bulma at the start of Dragon Ball. They all wanted the Dragon Balls for their own material gain. But if I had to choose just one character to take out this category, it would be Frieza, hands down. He not only wanted to live forever, he wanted the universe all to himself. So Frieza tops the category of greed in the 7 deadly sins of Dragon Ball Z. Taking on the next deadly sin, we have anger. There are a lot of characters in Dragon Ball Z that you could argue embody anger. And honestly, if you think about it, every single Saiyan that has turned into a Super Saiyan has some form of anger inside them, because the way to unlock Super Saiyan is obviously to get angry, but there is one Super Saiyan out of them all that I would say goes above and beyond the average angry Saiyan, and that is Broly. Broly is the embodiment of rage. There are other villains that do get angry, but no one can come close to Broly. Moving on to the next deadly sin, we have lust. I am not going to waste any time with this. For those of you that don't know what lust means, lust is a strong sexual desire. There are a lot of characters in Dragon Ball Z that do enjoy sex, and the most prominent out of them all is Geekdom 1, I mean Master Roshi. Taking on the next deadly sin, we have gluttony. Now, gluttony is very similar to greed in that the person is consuming more than what is required. The thing about gluttony is that it's usually in relation to food. And straight away, I know what you're all thinking. Goku eats a lot of food, that means he must be gluttonous. Remember, gluttony is defined as taking more than what is required. If you work out as much as Goku and you don't eat, you'll die. So Goku needs that food, he's not taking more than what is required. He doesn't eat politely, and he eats a lot, but that does not make him gluttonous. In fact, I have 2 very solid characters that are actually gluttonous. One is Majin Buu. 2 is Giran from the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament. These are 2 totally different characters, one being from the end of Dragon Ball Z and the other being from the very start of Dragon Ball. The reason I'm even bringing up Giran is that one scene where he is eating chicken right in front of Nam's face, and then Goku goes to get some chicken for himself, and then Giran gets pissed off. Now that may not sound that bad when you compare it to someone like Majin Buu, who literally turns human beings into food so he can eat them, but I still thought it was worth mentioning. I think it's obvious the award for gluttony goes to Majin Buu. Moving on to the second to last deadly sin, we have envy. Now for this one, many people may think it would be Vegeta, because Vegeta is jealous of Goku's abilities. That is almost as true as Yamcha turning Super Saiyan. Vegeta is not jealous of Goku. Vegeta does not want to be Goku. Vegeta actually wants to be better than Goku. So the embodiment of envy in Dragon Ball Z is Captain Ginyu. I mean, think about it, as soon as Captain Ginyu saw Goku's power level go past his own, he wanted Goku's body. And then when he was in Goku's body and fighting Vegeta, he wanted Vegeta's body. It never ends. Moving on to the final sin, we have pride. Let's define pride. www.deadlysins.com defines pride as an excessive belief in one's own abilities. That one sentence alone almost defines Vegeta. I do not think there is a character in Dragon Ball that has more pride than the Saiyan Prince. You may have invaded my mind and my body, but there is one thing a Saiyan always keeps. Just to backtrack for a little bit, for each of the 7 deadly sins, for sloth, we had Yajirobe. For greed, we had Frieza. For anger, we had Broly. For gluttony, we had Majin Buu. For lust, we had Master Roshi. For envy, we had Captain Ginyu. And for pride, obviously we had the Prince of all Saiyans. Let me know if you agree down below, and as always, I will see you in the next Dragon Ball Z video.